Our third day at Tokyo Disney Resort brought us some new experiences. Our plan was to spend our last 2 days at a park that is often described as unlike any other Disney resort. First thing in the morning, we hopped on the monorail and headed to Tokyo Disney Sea. The monorails at this resort are so incredibly cute. They are very different than the ones you find in Florida or California, starting with the fact that they cost money to ride. They have fewer cars, which are more like a subway car, than what you would expect in a Disney monorail. They are also highly themed from the windows to the hanging handles. A lovely way to travel, and if you stay at a Disney Resort hotel, you are given free monorail passes for the length of your stay. It took us 3 days to realize there is a special security line for Happy Entry guests. If you go to the far right of the security line at Disney Sea and show your Happy Entry ticket, you can access a much shorter security line. After entering the park and saying hello to Donald, Chip, and Dale in their adorable costumes, we headed straight for Soaring: Fantastic Flight. The ride is set in a Mediterranean-style museum of fantastic flight. While it did not have Patrick introducing the flight and safety features, it did have some very surprising scenes and experiences as you make your way through the queue. The ride show is very similar to the Soarin' rides you'll find in Florida and California, with the ending replaced with scenes from Japan and Disney Sea. Next up, we headed to Mysterious Island, where we were able to snag a Premier Access Pass and walk onto Journey to the Center of the Earth.
What? Do you want to go to the center of the Earth?
Yeah! Tori absolutely loved this ride. The theming is incredible and the ride is surprising. You start out as explorers, but find yourself in a race to escape the depths of the Earth and the monsters inside. Amazing. This was the only ride attraction where we purchased a second Premier Access Pass the next day.
前方のセーフティーバーにしっかりとおつかまりください。また、立ち上がったり、手や足を外に出さないようお願いします。
We passed by the adorable kid-centric Mermaid Lagoon. Most of this area is inside, and you really feel like you are traveling under the sea. It's one of the most extensively themed parts of the entire park. Onwards to the Arabian coast, where Tori decided to try the chai spiced sugar churro. Mickey shaped?
Smell it.
It's not Mickey shaped.
It's not Mickey shaped. certainly different. It's good. It's hard to place it. I mean, I don't drink chai tea, so I don't know the chai flavor, but the spice sugar is definitely there.
Sinbad's storybook Voyage is a musical boat cruise and dark ride inspired by the story of Sinbad the Sailor.
Okay. Shandu, that's his name.
I'm not wearing flippy flops. As we made our way further around the park, we reached the Lost River Delta, where the Raging Spirits and Indiana Jones rides are located. But tucked in between those two attractions is a character meet and greet area. You can pick to meet either Mickey, Minnie, or Donald in their Explorer gear. Of course, we just had to stop and see Donald, Tori's favorite. By this time, we were getting a bit hungry, and we found ourselves in the old Cape Cod section of the American waterfront. So we stopped for a quick bite at the Cape Cod Cook-Off restaurant. As I'm from Massachusetts, I found this section particularly interesting. It's fun to see how other cultures interpret something you've experienced and know so well. And sometimes you even learn some new things. For instance, did you know that Cape Cod is the hometown of Duffy the Bear? From Old Cape Cod, you travel to the New York Harbor area. It's hard to miss because of the actual steamship that dominates the area. Out front, we caught a bit of the Mickey Jamboree. They really do love a catchy song and dance. Not too far away, you'll find the imposing Hotel Hightower, better known as the Tower of Terror. There's no Twilight Zone in this version. Instead, you learn the story of the famous explorer and antiques collector Harrison Hightower III, who mysteriously disappeared. It was fun to see this ride with a fresh story and a genuinely creepy plot. Speaking of creepy, let's head to Toyville Trolley Park and walk through Woody's gaping mouth to ride Toy Story Midway Mania. No big surprises with this ride, as it's the same as in any other park, only in Japanese. Watch out for those green army men though, they pop up out of nowhere. York Harbor area, there's a theater where you can see a show called Big Band Beat, but only through a lottery entrance request pass. We got lucky and were able to see the show. It wound up being one of our favorite live Disney shows we've ever seen. It's Mickey and his pals doing their take on 50s jazz music and dancing. It was outstanding and nearly all in English. In the New York area, you'll also find McDuck's Department Store. This was one of the best themed Disney stores we've seen. It was fun just to walk through and look at all the decorations, as well as finding the various Easter eggs. We headed back to the front of the park to check out the shops and more of the Mediterranean harbor area that we didn't get a chance to see earlier. While we were visiting these parks, it seemed that Minnie Mouse was having her moment. While over in Disneyland Park, there was the Minnie We Love You cavalcade. Here in Disney Sea, she got a special boat parade with an equally catchy song. The stores up front have a lot of one-of-a-kind merchandise. Tori grabbed another themed snack from Mama Biscotti's Bakery, a Mike Wazowski-themed melon bread, and a coffee tapioca latte. Both were extremely delicious. Can't get it right up against the glass.
Edna, darling.
We also ran into a couple of super characters along the way. Nothing like a marching band to brighten up a cloudy day. They were fantastic. After some shopping, we decided to walk back to Port Discovery to check out Nemo and Friends Sea Rider. At the Marine Life Institute, you board a submarine and are shrunk down to fish size as you go on an adventure with Nemo and friends. The ride feels a bit like a larger version of Star Tours without the 3D glasses. Disney Sea has an electric railway you can take between Port Discovery and New York Harbor. But before we ride, we snack. Tori grabbed a pizza roll with chicken from a cart near the railway station. It reminded her of a Hot Pocket, but much tastier. You can ride the railway in both directions, but you must get off and re-queue at each station. Either way, you get some lovely views of the park and Tokyo Harbor. Back in Arabian Coast, you'll find the Magic Lamp Theater, where you can see a magic show with the world's greatest magician and the genie. You don't need an entry request pass to see this show. Just queue up and you won't have to wait too long. It's a fun show that incorporates live action with animation and practical effects in the theater's chairs. Before Sea of Dreams, we had dinner reservations at Ristorante di Canaletto. It was just okay, and unfortunately we forgot to take any pictures or videos of it. The sun was going down, and it was finally time to see the park's marquee show. We purchased a premiere pass for Sea of Dreams to get priority seating for the show. The seating was just a special area near the harbor where you still had to sit on the ground, but it did provide an excellent viewing experience. This show is breathtaking. They use different floating elements in the harbor that transform as the show goes on, including character-themed boats and a massive central light and display structure. The incredible music combines with fireworks and projections all along the exterior of Hotel Miracosta. At 30 minutes in length, it's truly an outstanding show.
Everybody know
The Disney Light the Night fireworks show a bit later is literally the same fireworks as you would see in the Disneyland park. You can view them from both parks. The next day we woke up to significantly worse weather. It was cold, gray, and rainy. We purchased some ponchos from the hotel shop and hopped on the monorail back to the park for early entry. We immediately made our way back to the Lost River Delta to try and beat the crowds to Raging Spirits and Indiana Jones. Raging Spirits was not open yet, but we were able to walk on and be the very first riders for Indiana Jones. Being the first riders meant we got a personal escort from a cast member from the opening of the ride to stepping into the vehicle. This ride is the same as you'll find in California, but with an overlay for the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull story. Later in the morning, we rode the monorail over to Ikspiari to visit the shops and find some lunch. We finally took our chance to try out the Japanese version of TGI Fridays. It was surprisingly the same menu and food quality you'd expect from this chain. On our way back to the park, we stopped by the Bon Voyage store to do a little bit of shopping. We returned to the park and headed to New York Harbor for our reservations at Teddy Roosevelt Lounge. This lounge, on board that steamship, is like stepping into first class on an elegant early 1900s sailing vessel. It's simply exquisite. We stopped in for some drinks and a dessert tray, which were all very, very good. As you would expect, it's super popular and a reservation is highly recommended. Also, note that they will give you a set amount of time you can remain in the lounge, which I believe was about 45 minutes. When we sat down, we were given a final call time for our last drinks. This was one of our favorite experiences in the park. We were really starting to feel the effects of the busy weeks of travel combined with the quickly deteriorating weather. We had a couple of rides to check off before we left, though. First, we took on Raging Spirits, a less painful clone of the Indiana Jones coaster in Disneyland Paris. And then finally, Aquatopia, which was more fun than it had a right to be. Ooh! Oh no, I lost my hat! No, my arms are in already. That's where I live now.
We're on a boat.
I don't have any flippy floppies on.
No flippy floppies. Nothing warm. Very cold. It's raining. And we're spinning. And going backwards now.
I mean, that was more exciting than Raging Spirits.
Raging Water Spirits.
We're gonna do it again. And spin! I think you can see the course.
I think at this point we're actually making the circles for the water. Is the back side of water? Front side of water!
The eighth wonder of the world! Afterwards, we said our final goodbyes to the park and returned to our hotel room, where we enjoyed a lovely room service dinner. We had an unforgettable 4 days at Tokyo Disneyland and are so grateful we had the opportunity to visit these parks. Thank you for joining us on this adventure.